clearly back in form after what we just saw from last game. FBI and Huhi looking really good. Tactical and Core JJ are nasty. We have some really, really good bot lanes in the league, and I am so excited to see two of them clash head-to-head. I want to find out which bot lane is better today.
Well, they're already focusing on the bottom lane here with the first ban from 100 Thieves being against the Rel, keeping that one away from Core JJ. Also going to ban out the Akali here. We saw the analyst talking about it earlier on today about how Akali is very banned in a lot of different
Very
ways.
banned.
Not really surprised.
The most banned.
Very, very banned. Yep, she is very banned. I'm the talk fast guy, not the smart guy. It's your job to word things intelligently. Talia and Pantheon are also banned away. We won't be seeing no more Talia like we usually do. Nidalee's also out of the picture.
Pantheon, another very banned champion. I agree. So
yes,
we'll see what they want to go for. Alfari, obviously, we just have the one game sample size, but he was killing it in game number 1. Looked really, really good on the Camille. I am excited for this guy. You know, we talked about the bot lanes, but damn, there's a lot you can talk about in this matchup. The top lane also going to be incredibly hype someday. One of the best players in the league, has been a really good top laner for a long time. Now kind of has the roster around him. People feel like it is his time to shine. Alfari was the best regular season top laner in the LEC, was first team All-Pro in summer. And Olaf, I think this is the first time Olaf has gotten through at all. Olaf is pretty much permaban status. Gore Drinker Olaf is not a lot of fun. The healing amp on the W amps the Gore Drinker heal. If you get in the middle of the whole team, you can just go whoop right back to full health from nothing. So it's pretty frightening to play against.
As soon as I saw the Olaf locked in, it's like in the distance, I could already hear the sounds of thousands of keyboards pre-typing up a Gore Drinker Olaf post to go on Reddit after the game is done if 100 Thieves win. I swear that this champion and item combination has been complained about as much as like Zoe has. But if you want to talk about champions that draw people's ire, let's talk about Samira, who won the Twitch chat vote for what needs to be permabanned right now. This champion is capable of popping off if she's able to hit her ultimate, hit that S-style grade, and turn into a mobile Katarina ulti with crits and lifesteal. Incredibly powerful in the team fight. Lily has been strong for a long time now too, so we'll see that one in the jungle from Armeo. And the next two picks from 100 Thieves will be Galio and Aphelios.
Okay, so very interesting stuff here. You know, this could be support Galio, this could be mid Galio. I think since we have Demonte, it's more likely to be going mid lane to him. He has always been really good at the champions with semi-globals and globals. He's great on TF and Galio and Talia and all these types of champions that can roam around the map and make things happen. I really think that is his bread and butter. Banning out the Gnar here, that is a pretty common answer to the Renekton. It's a very good matchup, generally speaking, for the Gnar. Hard for the Renekton to actually close the gap, get on top of, and punish that little Yordle. So going to be taking that away. But to talk about Samira a little bit, I mean, Samira I think is somewhat divisive. People either think it's like super OP, or sometimes, you know, you're hearing more teams in pro feel like it's actually not that strong. You just have to have point and click CC. You have to have ways to interrupt the ultimate. And if you do that, it can be, you know, pretty difficult sometimes to get that big channel ultimate that is kind of the high point of Samira, because without that, your team fighting isn't as effective. And we do have Galio over on the other side, so that is already one pretty solid source of CC. If 100 Thieves grab multiple, things could get more difficult for Tactical. And I've also found, just in general, if Samira gets ahead, it feels like it's GG. But likewise, if Samira is really far behind, she's really not that scary. She's one of the worst ADCs from behind. You know, doesn't feel like it's one of these sit back and farm style champions. You want to be killing people, you want to be scrapping, and showing up at these dragon fights from ahead to where you can play with reckless abandon, dive in and kill people off.
Well, with Gnar, Gangplank, Orianna, and Alistar all banned away, looks like Team Liquid feels pretty comfortable just locking in the entirety of their bottom lane here. When you have Samira on your team, you love to see something like Leona that also wants to go in and play very aggressively. Core JJ and Tactical practice a ton together, playing solo queue, playing in-houses, making sure they've got that synergy down pat. It's one of the things that I think Core JJ in particular excels at beyond other supports, is knowing breakpoints, power spikes, whenever he can go in against anyone, no matter what the 2v2 matchup is.
Yep, and well, I was talking about easy CC for the Samira. Guess what Lulu does? Polymorph. Ultimate for the knockup. these are great answers. You know, some of the things that are less common in pro play that I've run into as Samira is Lulu, and we're never going to see it, but Garen's actually really frustrating because the Q silence actually interrupts your ultimate. You know, Cho'Gath can work similarly, but I do think Lulu, for that reason, is very strong. The scary side of it is if the Lulu herself is getting hit by, you know, a solar flare, any sort of CC coming out immediately from the Leona, you could just be the target that dies. You could be the target that gets 100 to 0'd in that CC from the Leona, who has that point and click stun. You know, with the Q, if you can land the solar flare, it's pretty much guaranteed you're going to hit that Zenith Blade and Q to follow that up. And then, of course, the Samira passive knocks you up when you're clicking on that CC target. So that can be pretty frightening to deal with. Aatrox's going to be the top laner here for Someday, as a couple bans already went that way. I do think that this is preferential to Renekton, but not by so much that Someday cannot survive. And Someday is so proficient on this champion that if you can land those Qs on the sweet spots, if you can outplay, you know, some of the Renekton damage, you know, dashing out of the Q, landing your own, there are ways to win that matchup. So will be pretty interesting. Jensen also going for the Cassio, which I think is really, really good in the 1v1 against Galio. Laying down the Miasma, Galio cannot use the Justice Punch, cannot actually get out of there. And it can be pretty scary at times to try to be shoving the wave and potentially having Cassio chase you down or even get a really winning trade there.
So the big thing I'm looking at here is for both teams, they have frontline drain tanks. Both top laners love to go for a gore drinker, love to be tanky by jumping into the middle of as many people as possible, letting that health really walk the line and then going right back up to full by activating it. But the difference here is that Team Liquid also has a traditional tank in a Leona that just absorbs a bunch of damage, whereas on the other side, it's two drain tanks, Aatrox and Olaf. Not just two drain tanks, Isaac, but two drain tanks that have healing amplification built into their kits. For anybody out there that can't get what I'm going for here, Oblivion Orb, Executioner's Calling. These items are going to make such a difference in this game for the side of Team Liquid. The carries need to be setting those up ASAP if they want to stop these two champions from being able to dive with impunity and heal back to full.
Exactly. I mean, especially when you have a Lulu behind you buffing you up, it's even harder to burst them down before they are going to get a lot out of their sustain. So if you do not have some sort of healing debuff there, that just gets even more difficult. I actually like the rune setups quite a bit here for the 100 Thieves bot lane. Cleanse on the Aphelios, and then it's going to be Guardian for the Lulu. A lot of Enchanter supports, it can actually work very, very well if you were worried about the all-ins coming across, of course, versus Samira as well as the Leona. That is going to be what you have to worry about. Tactical can take Cleanse of his own to deal with Taunt, to deal with Polymorph, but as I said, it does actually cancel the ultimate. So, you know, when that ultimate gets canceled, you have to restack the style points to be able to use that once again. So it still can be pretty effective. But, you know, with this setup, Huhi needs to make sure that he is not the one being engaged on, that he is behind FBI. FBI can cleanse the CC while Huhi is there to defend him.
They are going to have to make sure they're on top of those 2v2 mechanics to play well against Core JJ and Tactical. Junglers will be starting on opposite sides of the Rift here today, so we will see Closer grabbing that blue buff there at the very start. Of course, helps Olaf make sure that his clear is fast as hell. Going through those camps, spamming the axes, getting out onto the Rift and doing some PvP as quickly as possible. Armeo will be heading up towards the top side there, and we'll see if he decides to get involved. But meanwhile, we got the 2v2 already starting up. This is what I'm talking about, Azale. You've got to be respecting Core JJ and Tactical. The 2v2, they always know exactly what they're capable of.
Oh my god, there's no way I think that they were expecting that Tactical would actually start either. Tactical did not go for the Q start, which you almost always will see from the Samira. So FBI and Huhi, they started in lane while TL's bot lane was trying to leash. So they thought, we can just step past the wave. We don't actually need to be worried until level 2 when Leona has her Q and Tactical has ZE. Instead, they just start Zenith Blade as well as the Samira dash. So they're stepping up here playing all aggressive, but Core JJ is just moving in further and further and further, holds that Zenith Blade until he knows he can nail it, and then Tactical ease in on top. So when FBI flashes, the flash follow is immediately there from both. No distance is made, and oh my god, what a way to start that game. The level 1 2v2 kill. That is how you assert some dominance.
Tactical and Core JJ, man, they're just built differently. These guys are so good in the bottom lane here. Someday getting himself a nice trade against Alfari. 7-18 in the farm, though. So Renekton taking a nice early lead against that Aatrox up there in the top side. But we'll see if FBI and Huhi are able to recover the bottom lane like what I was talking about last time. I said that I was really concerned for Immortals in the previous game because not only did they die in the 2v2, they did it more than once. And typically after that first death, you'll see players just approach the situation much more carefully. And from Huhi and FBI, I expect them to have that appropriate level of care and be like, okay, we fell for this once, don't let them do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that they were expecting Samira to actually start with E and that they could get all in like that. But, you know, the Zenith Blade, you know, coming through, landing that. Tactical's low now, though, and Closer is behind. So this actually should be a dive that they can pull off. There's no summoners on TL. This should be pretty much guaranteed if they do it right.
CoreJJ already going in there, looking to turn it right back around. Closer staying underneath the turret, going to be drawing the turret aggro. Flashing away, CoreJJ and Jensen looking to grab a little bit more.
No
Jensen has TP'd into the fight, but he's completely without mana. He's a caster minion. Cassiopeia does nothing in a situation like that. Double kill over to Aphelios as Jensen grabs a kill into Closer now. Alphari has teleported into the fight. FBI wants to run away, but the dice after the slice gets it done. And Team Liquid ends up making this a 2-for-2 trade.
They do make it a 2-for-2, but they spent 2 teleports to make it an even trade. Neither of the solo laners responded there from 100 Thieves. So that is still a very big win from 100 Thieves. You know, Jensen came in with that early TP, but Cassio, as Cassio players know, early on has a lot of mana struggles, and he was already low on mana when he arrived, so they're able to actually respond to that. In this, the Honda performance play, we see this happening one more time. Huhi pulling aggro initially, tanks as many tower shots as he can, 3 tower shots, then he is out. So FBI, who was getting burst down, didn't take any tower damage during it, allowed him to survive. Then Jensen has Closer low, but they realize, Jensen, you got no mana. So they turn around, they get that kill, but in comes Alphari. Unfortunately, the Crocodile's TP could not be interrupted. Alphari held the dice after the slice to follow after that route, and now they're on Closer, who has no flash.
Oh man, they just catch him out of position and pop him just like that. The rotations from CoreJJ putting himself in the right spot, and when you have the damage over time from a Cassio and a Lilia right next to you, it's easy money.
Yeah, CoreJJ getting a little bit of revenge on Closer. You come to my lane, I'll come to your jungle. Roaming up there, finding him going to the Raptors, making him pay. And a good kill there, you know, from TL, getting another one back, putting Lilia ahead of the curve because Closer spent that time ganking instead of farming. Armeo on Lilia already ahead on the farm, and then him dying again means he's going to get even further ahead. Now they're trying to set up a dive here onto Someday, who is not 6, and with this huge wave stacked, he knows they could be up there. He basically just has to leave. He had that ward in the river to spot them, but it still really sucks to watch the cannon and 2 full waves die to your tower. That is going to put him really far behind. Alphari also got a kill off the TP. This is actually a 3rd wave he's going to lose. Someday is going to be screwed.
And look at Alphari too. Executioner's calling first item to stop the healing from Someday. Dive into the bottom lane as Tactical and CoreJJ try to escape. 100 Thieves going in with a 4-man play. Tactical cleanses too early, and Demonte picks up the kill. Now they're trading 1 back, but they're picking up 1 more. It's a 1-for-2 here for 100 Thieves in the bottom side.
It's really good to see them go back, look to punish where those summoners are down. They knew Tactical just barely still didn't have his flash. Jensen, though, on the roam here, and they have a double sleep.
Jensen from the flank angle looking for the damage onto Huhi first, but that's not the right target, baby. Chop, chop goes the axes, and Closer gets himself a kill.
That is huge. They just didn't have the damage to actually push through the Lulu, plus all the sustain coming out there from Closer on the Olaf. So again, they return to bot side. Yes, Someday got zoned off a lot of experience and gold up on that top lane, but they return down bot, they get a double kill, and then they kill Jensen, who overestimated his power here on the roam. Here is the initial play after they had known. Jensen went top. He's back in mid lane. They go for this, the nice double axe after the dash had already come through from Tactical, so that was guaranteed to hit. And then that early cleanse that you did call out here, I think he was trying to cleanse the slow, perhaps. It looked like a Glitter Lance maybe hit him, and he was trying to cleanse the slow to stay ahead of the taunt. Unfortunately for him, he could not get out of range of that. Does get hit by the taunt, does get taken down. Then Jensen on the roam here, looking for the ult, but not able to actually connect on the stun. Huhi was turned away from him, and then Huhi, with the stopwatch on the poison, puts the shield on his teammate, not on himself, goes into the stopwatch, survives, and allows Closer and FBI to get that kill. That is some great support play.
Really good stuff from 100 Thieves happening throughout the entirety of that play, from making the choice to bring 4 bodies down into the bottom lane to being able to turn on Jensen there. And I gotta levy some critique towards Jensen so far this game. We've seen 2 playmaking attempts out of him, with both of them failing to consider the resources that his opponents have available. The first time he teleports into bottom lane with no mana, the second time he makes a flank without understanding his own champion's current power state and ends up just getting himself killed instead. Jensen needs to have a little bit more awareness of the fights that he's deciding to join up with, because both of those deaths were avoidable.
I agree, but you also have to give some big credit over to how 100 Thieves handled it, especially in the second one. Both of them facing away from the ultimate, so no one got stunned on the initial ult. Then Huhi stopped watching last second to avoid the death to the poison. Now Jensen in some trouble here. He has no flash just yet.
Haunted up, and nope, you can't use the petrifying gaze on an Olaf. Flash follow to get it done. Doesn't want to chase after the Lilia. Back here on the bottom side is Tactical losing out in the trade against FBI, who walks a little bit too close to the turret there. And 100 Thieves now leading in kills after grabbing the kill onto Jensen in mid.
Yeah, and FBI's ahead, right? You know, yes, they got a lot of jungle help, but that is great teamwork from 100 Thieves to get him back into it. This game could have spiraled out of control. This is a bot lane that died 2v2 at level 1. And then, through some great ganks here from Closer, the roams from Demonte, they have gotten their bot lane not only back in the game, but they are now ahead with the additional kills that FBI has picked up. This will be TL's Dragon, but it's a first Dragon going down here around 10 minutes, so it's not really that big of a deal. You're not concerned about a rush towards Soul based on the pace of this game thus far. The real advantage for TL right now is mostly just up in that top lane, actually. You know, having zoned off Someday from a lot of that CS. Alfari was already winning the lane early, then got a kill off the TP, and he has done a great job here. 1,000 gold up on Someday. You know, really, really impressing me through 2 games already is Alfari. And with this wave pushing heavily towards him, this is always the danger zone here, and Someday is going to take some bad trades.
Alfari dashing out of the back end of the Infernal Chains as well. Man, we're going to have a talk with Deficio about how did this guy end up on a 10th place team in LEC? This guy's slamming the top lane.
Come on,
Deficio, what are you doing over there, man? What are you doing over there, man? This guy's great at League of Legends. Up here in the top side, 20 CS up on Someday. Just absolutely showing people how to play the Lizard. Let's see if we get a fight over this Rift Herald. Eyeball exposed, down to half HP, but Shelly has run out of patience for this foolishness. Going right back into the pit now, as Closer's here on the front line. Not really the guy you want to be going after. Pops the Ragnarok, turns right back around, going back into the fight. Here comes your Galio entrance. There goes Jensen. Finally taking Closer down. Team Liquid makes it a 1-for-1. Alfari continuing to chase forward, but Alfari's going to be very low now. Probably going to be killed off next. Keeping himself alive there with a call to meet. There's another one dropping. It's 3 dead on the side of TL. Only 1 for 100 Thieves. And they'll take another victory in the fight.
They're just underestimating this Olaf, it feels like. Yes, they did take him down, but it's a one-man sleep onto the Olaf. He just pops the ult, he turns and fights with the Lulu behind you there to give you that additional chunk of health from all the shielding. Allows him to get that damage out, knock down Jensen very, very quickly. And they pick up a couple more kills on the back end there. Look at this wave at that tower. They're not actually going to have Alfari TP back to it. Interesting. So they're going to send Tactical up towards that top lane to collect this farm. A lot going to be going down there the way of Someday as he got the kill. He gets the turret plate. Maybe even going to get a second. Probably not. But that puts Someday right back in it here against Alfari.
And here's a replay of how it went down. 100 Thieves with control over the river, and their opponents think they can force out the Olaf ulti, but Closer quickly changes their plan.
Oh, I mean, they forced it out. Unfortunately, they forced it out, and they underestimated here. He was going in with that ulti. The Lulu behind him, hitting him with the wild growth. You can see Alfari, just can't do much as he is sectioned off from the rest of his team, getting polymorphed up. FBI does arrive a little bit late, but he made sure he would have some impact in that fight. Lands the ulti, getting so much damage out across the team. And now 100 Thieves back here to the scene of the crime. This Rift Herald is theirs for sure. It will be traded for some damage down on that bot lane tower. They could TP Someday down to answer if they want, but it looks like they want to hold on to the TP, and they're just going to walk Someday down to that. So it will be Someday taking more the team play route. He will fall a little bit behind again in gold here, but his team can just show up mid lane and drop the Herald right now if they want.
And there it is. Only 2.5 plates remaining on the turret. So Shelly's charge shouldn't kill it outright, but it will take it very, very low. Yeah, down to, what is that, 1% of the health left on the thing? 2 more auto attacks should be able to just pop it from anybody, even the Lulu. That turret will remain standing here for now. 100 Thieves, almost 1,000 gold ahead of their opponents. Scuttle Crab control in the top side river here. They'll be able to pick that one up. So far, the only metric that Team Liquid is winning in is with that first Drake control. They managed to sneak that one away. However, the next Drake will be spawning here in about 1 minute.
Also heading in lizards. You know, they got the crocodile, they got the snake, so that's looking pretty good for
Okay,
them.
they're leading in all lizards. Crocodiles, snakes, and dragons.
Yep.
Team Liquid has lizard advantage.
Yeah, there you go. It's
Team
critical.
Lizard. All right, if they ever need to do a rebrand, we change the horse to a lizard and just run with that. But right now, they got more important things on their mind, like trying to make sure 100 Thieves doesn't keep winning these mid-game fights. What is the answer, Isaac? Because we've seen 100 Thieves be more proactive in the bottom lane. We've seen 100 Thieves respond to situations better, like how they outplayed Jensen, and we've just seen them out-team fight Team Liquid, like we just saw in the topside river. So what's the sauce here? What's the magic answer for Team Liquid to start recovering from this?
I think we may have a fight here, so we may have to hold off on that, but it looks like we'll peter out. To me, it's more patience, right? You know, when TL is the one just like hard engaging in and running in, trying to attack them, they're not, you know, showing the respect over to Olaf. You have to try to kite out Olaf, wait for his ultimate to expire, then turn and actually be able to actually CC him and kill him off, right? If you can't kill him instantly at the start of the fight and you are charging in on top of him, he's going to have such an effective fight. And it feels like that is what has happened a couple fights in a row now. They hit him with that sleep, but with Lulu behind him, with the rest of the team behind him, you're just starting the fight for him, right? Make him come to you. Make him run through Miasma. Use the ultimate early while he's not already in range. And then, as that expires, turn and commit to the fight yourself.
Drake started up now by 100 Thieves. Team Liquid backing away from this one. Looks like they're deciding they just don't want to bother contesting for a single Cloud Drake. I mean, they're not going to go for that 4-0 Drake win condition. They know they're up against an Olaf Lulu like you're talking about, so Cloud Drake goes over to 100 Thieves, and it will be an Infernal Rift for the second time today.
Okay, so we're going to get that Infernal. This will be interesting to see how highly these teams are prizing it. We do have carry junglers, obviously, on both sides, so it does kind of make the additional ADAP that much more valuable in general. I do think because it's going to be coming up so late in the game for an actual soul, we may see teams just be okay to give that up, right? You know, maybe you want to just try to get additional items on your Casio. You're okay to sit back and farm it out, but the concern there is you're also giving more time for this Aphelios, right? Who's going to be late game Aphelios, buffed up potentially by Huhi here. He has some really strong carries to actually speed up and protect. So anytime you sit back and farm it out, there's also going to be advantages given over to the other side.
100 Thieves still keeping that lead right around the 1K mark. So at least for Team Liquid, it's not really ballooning any further. Leandri's Anguish completed for both Jensen and Armeo. This item inflicts so much damage. When you read the tooltips for how much extra value you've gotten out of the damage directly dealt from your mythic items, a Lilia with Leandri's will often be topping the charts of a normal game of League of Legends unless somebody else in the game is just at 15 kills or something ridiculous. The value that Lilia is able to get out of that item is incredible, so Armeo now having that one complete should be able to have a lot more impact here on the fights. Jensen trying to defend the tier 1 turret up here in the top side. However, a lot of Thieves are showing up here to try to make sure they can't do it. Meanwhile, Alfari going in on Someday here in the bottom lane in the 1v1, chases him away. And look at the health bar comparison. Someday hit him for about 57, and Alfari took Someday down to 20% HP. 100 Thieves returning the favor up here in the top side with more manpower. They take down the tier 1, but Team Liquid will quickly respond with the tier 1 in bottom.
Yeah, man, Alfari is honestly just crushing right now. You know, he has been playing a really, really strong game. He went for the Blade of the Rune King rush. You know, mostly in competitive, I've been seeing people go towards their Mythic first on Aatrox, but I do actually really like this. It's very powerful getting the, multi-hit with your Empowered W, especially you're getting multiple instances of that Blade of the Rune King proc. That, in addition to the early executioners that you talked about, is going to make that 1v1 so damn hard for Someday. He does have his Gore Drinker himself, but he's just behind in gold. gold. He's behind even a bit in experience, as we can see Alfari hitting level 12 now. And Alfari knows how to exploit this, knows how to play around it. So every time 100 Thieves are showing on the opposite side of the map, Alfari is moving behind the turret. He's zoning somebody off of experience, zoning somebody off of farm. It's not that somebody's just missing minions and failing at CS. He is getting pressured off of turrets by Alfari and his team.
And Alfari with that 30 CS lead now. And you're talking about the build working out really well. And remember that those big moments that you always see from highlight clips about Gore Drinkers restoring somebody from 10% to 100% HP, that's in the middle of a team fight. It scales based on the number of champions hit. So in a 1v1, even if there wasn't Grievous Wounds, you wouldn't get that full HP rush from it. And with Grievous Wounds, it's just going to be a minor heal for some days. So he's pretty much stuck underneath that turret, just having to allow Alfari to run the lane, hoping that if they TP into something, he can have more impact in the fight up there. Both of these top laners now positioned in the bottom part of the map do have those TPs ready and available to use. Jensen has his teleport ready to go. Demonte currently using a cleanse next to the flash there with the Summoner's Spellbook. Rift Herald alive for another 45 seconds, and 100 Thieves want to take this one down before it despawns. He is going to run interference up here, just clearing out a couple of the wards, making sure they don't do anything cheeky, come close and try to steal this one away. But it looks like it should be a freebie here for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, it's looking good for them, you know. And someday, really all he has to do is survive, right? As long as he's just not losing every turret and losing the inhibitor and everything, it doesn't really matter that he's behind because his team is so much stronger in the 4v4. You know, Alfari is up 1,700 gold, and his team is still behind 1,000 gold, right? So when you take both these players out of the equation, it means that the 4v4 is massively stronger. 400 Thieves, Huhi here to try to even the odds, make this a 2v1. Armeo's coming down too, though.
The odds were evened, and they still favor Team Liquid. Alfari gets himself out. He gets the exhaust from Huhi. He's feeling all right. Didn't even have to use his own flash, and he walks away.
And nicely done from Alfari, going to be able to get out of there. You know, I think they potentially could have chased him down and killed him eventually, but because the Lilia has come down to actually offer that defense, if you overchase, Lilia will obviously get involved, and that will not go your way in the 2v2. But we can see, you know, the Kraken Slayer done here on FBI. You know, double cleanse is available right now as Demonte has actually spellbooked over to that. And with Kraken Slayer coming through, once he gets the Hurricane as well, he's going to have so much attack speed, especially, you know, if he's getting whimsied up for the additional move speed and attack speed from the Lulu. You can get through to those Kraken Slayer procs so incredibly quickly when you're being buffed up and amped up by this Lulu. And it's also interesting, you can see that it's Mikhail's. So Mikhail's rush here for Huhi, which I do think makes actually, you know, quite a bit of sense in this composition, right? You know, there's going to be Leona engaging, there's going to be the stun from the Renekton, the sleep coming through, even a Cassio ultimate. Like, there's always going to be something good for him to remove. And if he can keep FBI active in the fight between Cleanse and Mikhail's, if they're coordinating well with that, it's going to be so hard to lock down this Aphelios, who's going to be going nuts with a Kraken Slayer and Hurricane, just AoEing through your team.
I love seeing adaptive itemization, playing around the game itself instead of just going with the cookie cutter builds that you're used to and whatever you think has the highest win rate based on current stats. This seems like a really good pickup for this game in particular. Steric's Gauge also completed on Closer's Olaf, meaning he has that much more ability to run into the middle of the fight and not worry about the consequences. First Infernal Drake of the game was picked up by 100 Thieves in the meantime. They grabbed that one while also summoning Rift Herald in the bottom lane to take down the tier 1 and put some pretty critical damage into the tier 2. Baron is now on the map as we're just about 22 minutes in here, but not a lot has changed for the past 5 minutes or so, Azael. We're pretty much just watching the two teams farm up against one another. The gold difference hasn't really fluctuated too greatly. Everybody's sort of okay just shaking hands and scaling.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's because of what we talked about earlier with TL. You know, they were losing every fight. Right? So they're saying, all right, screw this. We have good scaling. Let's play for late. Let's play for vision control. Let's make 100 Thieves make a mistake. Because TL really do excel and have over the last couple of years, generally, 100 Thieves, you know, playing here, know that TL is going to excel in these slower games, right? So it's more on 100 Thieves to actually kind of push the pace. And they were doing that earlier on. They were getting all these fights, but TL now going to sit back, going to try to farm up, get Cassio to a really strong point, and look to make their opponents force something to happen. And because the Dragons started getting taken so late, there wasn't really any way to force much.
Demonte using the cleanse to escape Alfari's stun. You can see that there was plenty of backup there from Team Liquid. So Demonte happy that he has that Summoner's Spellbook to get him out of trouble on that one. But Tactical now eating a lot of damage from FBI from a single auto attack. That's about, what, a quarter, a third of his health there? Tactical doesn't want to be dealing with that no more.
Yeah, it's a lot. And they make that play up on the top side, but Demonte had the Spellbook cleanse, gets out. That was a high-value summoner, to be honest. And down on that bottom side, it's going to be Someday getting that extra time to take down a tower. So Someday getting some additional gold for himself. He is staying relevant. He is ahead in experience now. Yes, he has been losing the 1v1 to Alfari. Did get pressured a little bit by TL's team, but he is hanging on there, and we'll see who is going to be able to get done more in the team fights.
Yeah, you can see Someday down about 700 gold right now. Item completed. Sterix Gauge just now purchased back at the fountain, making sure that he'll be tankier when he jumps into the mix as well. So him and Olaf's itemization pretty much identical between these two champions. Their gold is almost the same as well. You can see Olaf actually having a slight advantage there because of the fact that he's already got 3 kills under his belt. Also a gold lead for Olaf over the Lilia there in the jungle, but both of them can have a huge impact on the team fights depending on how these play out and who gets focused. 100 Thieves hanging out on the top side here, continuing to try to fight for the vision in the northern part of the Team Liquid jungle. Got a ward down there, shooting out a couple of long-range shots. Tactical gets tagged, rooted up. 100 Thieves are looking to contest this red buff, but I don't know how much they want to commit to this. Drowsy coming out from the Lilia, and look at that. The immediate use of the Mikhail's plus cleanse. FBI cleanses it. He Mikhail's himself, so neither one of them's in any danger. And easy peasy 1, 2, 3 as the closer walks out with the red.
Yeah, they do get the red. Not too bad, though. You know, getting out the Mikhail's cooldown and the cleanse cooldown, maybe TL can find something before those do come back up. You know, I was thinking TL might be forced to use their TP off of Alfari, but 100 Thieves didn't want to commit. Now Tactical in trouble. He cleansed.
Oh, Tactical already used the cleanse. He has to use the flash to continue to get away. 100 Thieves nearly finding the pick onto the Team Liquid AD carry, and they force those summoner spells out with 45 seconds before the Drake is about to spawn. This could have big implications for the upcoming fight. They're going towards the Baron now.
Yeah, they could even threaten this. They have a tremendous amount of damage, but they are backing off now. Blue Trinket was put in the pit, so they know they're not on it. 100 Thieves turning for the fight.
They're going for the fight right now. Nice two-man taunt coming out from Demonte. They've already killed off Tactical. Armeo forced to flash away, but below 50% HP. Closer continuing the chase. The damage pours through, and Armeo disappears to join Tactical back at the fountain. With 2 members of Team Liquid seeing black and white, 100 Thieves heads back to the Baron in earnest now. Someday seems to be left behind in the bottom side of the river here just to dissuade Team Liquid from being able to take a Drake. I don't know how 100 Thieves plans on doing this. Looks like they're going to do a 2-man Baron attempt here, just with Closer and FBI. They think that these two should be more than enough to do it, considering all their opponents are still in the bottom side river. They should get this one without too much of an issue here. Smite for Closer just about up and ready to go. There it is to make sure he stays alive. Baron Nashor secured. 100 Thieves doing that wonderfully, taking the Baron with only 2 players while sending the rest of their forces down into the bottom side river to make sure they don't give up on their Drake stacking either. Just great stuff from this team.
I mean, that's actually a huge drag for them because now they're at soul point, right? That puts you 5 minutes away from it, and you have the Baron buff, so you're going to run the map for the next couple minutes. This was after Tactical had already been forced to cleanse and flash. Look at the positioning from Someday. He is already arriving where they know Tactical has to go. So right as the taunt comes up, he lands it. Someday is there. They all pile in. There was no escape for Tactical from that positioning. That was such an intelligent setup from 100 Thieves. Really, really looking good there on that pincer play. And now FBI has the Infinity Edge in. They have the Baron buff. They are ridiculously strong. And TL are really facing an uphill battle from this point forward.
Hard to believe that 100 Thieves had their bottom lane get 2v2 killed at level 1 at the start of this game, because FBI is now 4-2-5. 3 items plus boots already completed with the same farm as his opponent. Huhi is 0-0-10. He has had participation in every kill this team has got except for one of them. Been doing an amazing job here on support so far. And now with the Baron buff in their possession, 100 Thieves command a 4,000 gold lead, and they'll push even further into enemy territory, being very aggressive with how they set down these wards, sweep out enemy vision, and try to choke Team Liquid out of their own jungle.
I mean, Huhi came in with the intelligent pick. He is positioned incredibly well. You know, they were playing from behind. It's so easy to get burst down by this Leona and Samira combo, but they really coordinated well with Closer to set up a dive early on before the buy had even come through from Tactical. They continued pressuring with the Galio, with the Olaf, and they've just worked better with their jungler this game. Yes, TL does have that jungle sub in there, but 100 Thieves have played a fantastic game so far, and they have gotten all the advantages they need to really close this one out. There's multiple members answering the wave mid lane for only the Galio, so 100 Thieves is going to push it hard up on that top side, try to get damage down, and the turret should just melt.
Here they go. FBI able to put in 10 or so auto attacks. That turret is gone. Core JJ on the front line. Closer eating a little bit of damage as Someday is down to 1/3. Steric's already procced. Their frontliner's injured, but that ain't going to be stopping them. Flash away from Jensen, but there's your follow-up. Closer continues charging forward. Enemy mid laner already down. Enemy support to join him. Alfari tries to make some sort of a move on to FBI, but the FBI comes knocking on your door, not the other way around. 100 Thieves, 3 for nothing, looking for the game win right now. Someday started to channel the teleport back to come back with the TP afterwards, but it doesn't even matter. He don't need to heal up. Everybody on Team Liquid is down, and 100 Thieves. Day 1, they looked fantastic. Day 2, things looked a little shaky, and in Day 3, they're returning to that beastly form yet again. They take out Team Liquid 16-6.
Yesterday was just a bump in the road. They finish it off with a Bud Light ace, and we got a little bit of an idea why Olaf has been sitting on the ban list all split long. He was looking so damn strong, playing that very well with who he... It was so tough for Jensen to ever feel like really enter a fight. You know, there they wanted to try to engage because it was the 4 members top lane, 400 Thieves. They grouped up. They were looking for the engage, but it's Galio split off. He can join with the ultimate. Jensen flashes away, but it's the immediate flash follow, and then who he had saved his ultimate till after Jensen flashed. So Olaf flashes on top of him, knocked up by the wild growth, and just pummeled into the ground by the Olaf. Really, really impressive stuff from Huhi, from Closer. FBI really coming back into this one, and TL going to be frustrated with how that game went, I think, because they had such an incredible start, and for their bot lane to look so inert is so rare. You know, they're normally the ones dictating the pace. They're normally the ones running over the opposing team, but they got shut down pretty hard despite a great lead because of how well 100 Thieves played together. TL was not in position at the right time to answer these dives, to answer these ganks that really did get FBI and Huhi into a winning position. It was the work of many by 100 Thieves here to win this game.
Yeah, between the collapse by the 4-man squad in the bottom lane, chasing the Team Liquid bottom laners away, the turn back on Jensen when he tried to punish, then the out-team fighting in the topside river. They had so many of those early to mid-game plays go their way. 100 Thieves seemed to have a plan from start to finish, and that plan earned them a victory over Team Liquid here in this matchup. On the other side of the break we're about to head to, we'll hear from Dash and Devontae for the Verizon post-game interview, so don't y'all go anywhere. You don't want to miss it.